I vividly remember one day when I went to a park with my family. We were having fun walking through when we lost my sister. We had accidentally left her behind, and when we found her, she was in tears. In the following weeks, if she was left alone in a room, at night, or even in the bathroom, she would cry. I think I became half deaf because she screamed so loud. I didn't know it then, but my sister was experiencing trauma. Almost everyone goes through trauma at least once in their life. According to the Oxford Dictionary, trauma is a mental condition caused by severe shock, stress, or fear. Although many examples are very intense, such as near-death experiences, war, disasters, or attacks, some small events can also cause trauma. The Newport Institute, an organization of many mental health experts, different backgrounds and experiences, explains this as big trauma versus little trauma. For example, moving, losing loved ones or pets, or even injuries can be traumatizing, even though they aren't big, intense problems. Trauma can do many things to people's life and health, but the three main things are isolation, anxiety, and depression. But with the right strategies, people can learn to deal with these effects. Many people dealing with trauma experience anxiety. They fear the situation they're in and wonder if it will happen again. For example, with my sister, she was lost once and feared getting lost again. One way to deal with this anxiety is acting or drama. Some people may say it's too hard to pick up a new hobby when dealing with anxiety. They might suggest that people have to deal with their emotions before they can join an extracurricular activity. Actually, the opposite is true. George Bellevue, a professor at the University of British Columbia, says, the performers make use of memory to both blur and enlighten both past and present events. Characters can play out moments from the past to re-examine their history and gain a deeper understanding of the present. In fact, watching a play of a character wrestling with trauma is also a way for the audience to release their trauma. Bellevue explains that when you watch memory plays, you are brought into an interplay between past and present. Seeing both historical trauma and the ways that individuals cope with this in the present can then lead to healing and can let the audience experience a release of emotions. The second problem trauma can cause is isolation. Trauma can make people feel isolated or alone. It can make them feel as if they have to go through their situation on their own. People need to learn how to cope with this trauma because isolation can prevent people from being able to help you. Sports is a really good way to do this. According to Sawinder S. Hall, a doctor of philosophy at the Philippines Women's University, sports can provide people with social support through their community. He also says, sports can and should provide the camaraderie that draws otherwise disconnected, marginalized, and vulnerable young people into programs that promote well-being. Humanitarian organizations like UNICEF and Red Cross run sports programs worldwide in countries like the Philippines and countries in Africa. They often use sports as a hook so as to provide people with psychosocial intervention. Now, sports can help with isolation and drama can help with anxiety, but people seldom only have one symptom caused by trauma. Anxiety, combined with feelings of isolation, can lead to depression. Emotions become pent up inside, needing to come out. Brian Goodwin, the president of nonprofit educational research organization, McREL, and Lisa M. Jones, the managing researcher at McREL, explained that another way to release emotions is writing about negative experiences or experiences that incited trauma. They say, psychologists have long observed that people tend to remember traumatic events as disjointed sensory perceptions or behavioral reenactments, and that writing can help students process and convert this sort of emotions into a coherent narrative. It helps them make sense of and organize their thoughts in their head. Writing is also a good outlet to express people's emotions. There are actually many ways to release thoughts and feelings. Art and also dance can do this. Rebecca Davis, who leads her own dance company called the Rebecca Davis Dance Company, works with traumatized kids. She says, you put on music and everyone starts moving. It's how they're able to handle their aggression and channel their emotions. You see, to cope with their trauma, people need an outlet. Once they have one, it can then lead to healing. If you or someone you know is going through trauma, just know that it is a very normal part of life. Many people deal with trauma, and they eventually learn to cope with it. My sister eventually got over her trauma, and now she doesn't care about being alone. You see, trauma is a big problem, but with certain strategies, we can learn to overcome it. Thank you.